The room that breathes. There is a room in my grandmother's house that does not appear on the floor plan. I found the plan after the funeral, folded inside a blue folder with old insurance papers. The house was small, 2 bedrooms upstairs, a kitchen, sitting room, bathroom, pantry, and a hallway that ended at the back door. But I knew there was another door. It stood halfway down the upstairs landing, narrow and cream-painted, with a brass handle that was always cold. When I was 6, I asked what was inside. My grandmother looked at it for a long time and said, "That room is resting." After she died, the house sat empty for 3 months. My mother could not clear it, so I drove there with boxes, bin bags, and a key that still smelled faintly of lavender soap. The first day was ordinary. Sad, but ordinary. I packed plates, photographs, medicine bottles, and birthday cards. By evening, I had avoided the upstairs landing as long as I could. The door was still there. Every other wall had faded. Every other door was chipped or swollen with age. That narrow cream door looked freshly painted. I checked the floor plan again. Nothing. Only a blank stretch of wall. I reached for the brass handle. From the other side, something sighed. Not loud, not dramatic. Just the sound of someone exhaling after holding their breath for too long. I stepped back. Then the door breathed in. The wood bowed inward just a little. The frame tightened. The handle clicked once as if a tongue had moved behind teeth. I slept downstairs on the sofa. At 3:17 in the morning, I woke because the ceiling above me was breathing. In. Out. In. Out. The plaster rose and settled. The lampshade trembled with each breath. Then I heard my grandmother's voice from upstairs. "Do not wake it." At sunrise, I called my mother. I asked if Nan had ever mentioned a room upstairs. There was silence. Then she said, "Come home." I asked what the room was. She started crying. My mother never cried, not at the funeral, not at the hospital. "Do not open it," she said. "It is not a room." Then the line went dead. I should have left. Everyone says that in stories like this. But fear can pin you in place just as easily as curiosity can pull you forward. I stayed because I wanted to know why my grandmother had spent 30 years living beside a door that did not exist. I stayed because the house had started whispering my name. At dusk, I set a chair in front of the narrow door and put my phone on record. For 1 hour, nothing happened. At 9:42, the door knocked 3 times. Not from inside, from my side. Then my grandmother's voice whispered through the door. "Let me out, love." It sounded exactly like her. The small catch on the word love, the tired kindness, the breathy edges from the oxygen tube she wore in her last year. I said, "Nan?" The handle turned halfway. "It is dark in here," she said. I stood so fast the chair fell backward. "You are dead," I said. There was a pause. Then the voice changed. Not into a monster, not into a growl. It changed into me. "You are dead," it said from behind the door, copying every shake in my voice.
The phone screen went black. The landing light burst. In the dark, the door began to breathe quickly. The walls joined it. The floorboards lifted under my feet. The whole house took short, hungry breaths, and beneath them I heard a wet, patient sound, like something smiling in its sleep. I ran downstairs. The front door would not open. The back door opened into the upstairs landing. I slammed it shut and saw the photographs. They had been arranged across the sitting room floor while I was upstairs. Family photographs, holiday photographs, school photographs, my grandmother at 20, my mother at 10, me at 6 years old, asleep in the little upstairs room. Every photograph had been turned face down except one. In that picture, the narrow cream door stood open behind my bed. In the darkness beyond it, something leaned over me. It had my grandmother's hands, my mother's hair, and my mouth. On the back of the photo, written in my grandmother's careful blue ink, were 5 words. It learns who we love. The house inhaled. Every door opened at once. I remember running through the kitchen. I remember glass breaking. I remember rain on my face. I remember crawling through the herb garden with blood in my socks, while the house behind me used every voice it had learned. Come back. I am scared. It is dark in here. The house burned down 2 nights later. Electrical fault, according to the report. Old wiring. A tragic end to an empty family home. But I saw the photographs from the fire investigation. Everything was ash except the upstairs landing. One wall remained standing. In the middle of it was a narrow cream door, untouched by flame. Last week, a letter arrived at my flat. No stamp, no return address. Inside was the old floor plan of my grandmother's house. Only now there was a room drawn between the bedrooms. Small, narrow, impossible. On the back, in my grandmother's handwriting, were 5 words. This room is resting. That night, at 3:17, I awoke to the sound of breathing, not from the ceiling, from my wardrobe. In, out, in, out. And then, very softly, my grandmother whispered from inside it, "Let me out, love.